This is episode 29 of Sparda's World Podcast. And before we get to the review of the chapters, and I know there have been a lot of news, maybe not so much. There is a strong weekend debut opening for The Boy and the Beast, which I really want to see that movie. And, it's good to know that a lot of people are really hyped to see that movie, and a lot of people went out their way to buy the tickets and see the movie themselves. And it's only the weekends. It sold over 600 million yen already at the box office in Japan. And I guess we have to wait for this Western state. We have to wait another year for the movie to come out, in this state, releasing the Blu-ray and DVD. Unless it's something I don't know about, but that's not. Maybe I have to check on that, but nevertheless, it's good news to hear about that. Now, the reason I'm getting out of the way, there are other news, but maybe it's not too much. But one of the sad news I have heard for the past since Sunday, unfortunately, is the passing of Satoru Iwata, excuse me. And he was the Nintendo CEO, and it's so sudden that he has passed away. It was posted online on July 12, 2015, which is supposedly posted or given a worldwide announcement on July 13th, as it says on the paper. He passed away on July 11th, which is Saturday, the day before the announcement. The day before this big breaking news announcement was posted online. So on Saturday, he has passed away in Kyoto, Japan, from what I gather. And the cause of his death was a bioduct tumor or bioduct growth. Is something that he was battling since last year, perhaps even before then. But all I remember it was last year. It was a huge, devastating news that he didn't attend E3, which is Electronic Entertainment Expo. E3 is mainly for gaming. It's all gaming related. Gamers, where they get the news, the breaking news, new technology, like, new hardware, new accessories, and so on. That's one of the main events that every gamers get their news and get something in new development, as well as where a lot of game developers introduce their new product or showcase their products that has been announced already. And, usually you get from Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo themselves. And Iwata, along with Shigeru Miyamoto and Reggie, also attend there every year. So for the past decades, actually. And it's always fun to watch them. Granted, you don't need to be their conference in the past can be a hit and miss, more of miss, but still we respect these guys, especially Iwata, for contributing their hard work with these gaming, with the Nintendo hardware franchises. And I know I always have some problem, not personal problem, because what do I know about the guy? All I know, he has done a lot of accomplishments such as inventing developing Balloon Fight, which is an old Nintendo game. I actually played that after I got started with the Super Nintendo ages, which is, my first game was actually Super Mario World, and then it was Street Fighter 2. But when it comes to Nintendo, it was Super Mario World. Then I actually went back to Nintendo because my brother owns that console, and I actually played Balloon Fight, and I thought it was fun. I didn't even mind the graphics at the time. I just thought it was fun. Then again, what did I know? I was a 5-year-old at the time, or even less. I don't remember what age, but I definitely remember I played it at a very young age. And I remember Super Mario World being my first game. But going back to this, he also, helped develop Earthbound. I haven't played it in the time when I was growing up, but I did play it when I was much older, like around during the college days. I actually managed to play that. it was such a fun game, and it's that's where NES comes from. And I wish I actually was there to play on the first debut. Instead of playing him much later on. But that's it happens to a lot of people. And then he also even helped behind the Pokemon Gold and Silver. From what I gather, he also did the fact that he was the one that made Kanto region possible in Gold and Silver. Because in that game, it was only Johto, if I recall correctly. But they had a struggle to put a Kanto. So he managed to put it in. Yes, if you played the game, the Kanto region isn't like the full package from Red and Blue, where you have a lot of like a good another 25-hour gameplay, whatever how many hours. But it was still there. The gym leader, the zone gym league, I think. And then you even got the special appearance of Red. It's mind-blowing that he actually was helping behind that. And it's also mind-blowing that he actually turned around a company, HAL Laboratory. It's a game development. And he managed to turn around as soon as he got it in charge of that company. And he also did the Kirby games, which is, who would have thought a little cutesy pink round ball shape would actually be such a fun game. It has that absorbing power. Don't really talk, but it's so cutesy, but it's such a badass in some way. It's remarkable. I'm actually a fan of Kirby. I know it's kind of hard to develop those games in the main console because there's always some game that could be like you could beat this in 4 hours or even under. You can't really have a longevity with those games, but nevertheless, they're always fun to me. And he's done a lot of accomplishment. He became the president around 2002 of Nintendo, and he was really dedicated to his work. He will actually put his own money just to defeat the Sony and the Microsoft competition, and he's so dedicated to his work. And it always brought up my favorite quotes that came from him. And, I actually still have it. I managed to find it recently because, I remember hearing that the first day, and I heard that from him back in 2005, I think. And I was like, yes, this is the guy who gets it. He gets it. Just like how that Pokemon developer once said that he knows Pokemon. He gets Pokemon. But in this case, for gaming-wise, it is, as he was the president, his speech keynote was well known for this quote. On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer. But in my heart, I am a gamer. And, it speaks to me because this guy is 100% passion what he does. 100% passion in gaming. And he may wear a suit, but he's no suit. And hearing this story from Sunday, I was actually heavily shocked. And to be honest, I couldn't even play a video game. It's really devastating. There was like, it's not like how with the Apple one, the Apple has when Steve Jobs gave the title, the whole CEO, he retired and he gave it the title to the other guy. It gives the idea something's going to happen with him, like his days are coming, and then it did. But with this one, it just came out of nowhere. I don't even know how that even happened. Like, there's no heads up. I don't even know if they have any plans, but that doesn't even matter right now, because right now it's just the fact that we lost a truly great guy. Not just for gaming, not just as a game developer, a guy who knows gaming, but just the person himself. Like so many fans, so many friends and loved ones that really touch upon him. And Twitter was all over it, and it was every post you see comes from the fans, dedicated fans, friends, game developers that really got touched upon by his work, his early works. Because you start somewhere, and he was one of the early ones that you get influenced and you be inspired to make a game or so. And, it was such a sad day that day when they all learned about it. And I thought it was a cruel joke when I went to the website and I clicked it. And, of course, at the time, when I saw it, it's not going to be a cruel joke, but you just wish it's a cruel joke because it's just unbelievable, seeing a person die before you even know it. I mean, not seeing, but you know what I mean. It's devastating. So his funeral is going to take place on July 17th. I know this is not much of an anime and manga. If it connects, then so be it. But seriously, it's something that really caught me off guard. And, I'm still saddened to see him go away and no longer part of with us. Him now belongs in our hearts. And, we just continue our lives, and hopefully Nintendo will continue their things where they starts to do, whatever they develop, the things they do the most, where they love the most, and hopefully, they everybody's will continue on as Iwata would know that he will have everyone still continue their lives and still continue to do their things that they love the most, and that's playing games, creating games, and make people happy, because that's what he wants, is to make people happy. What an interesting chapter. Well, more like what an interesting turn of event by the end of the chapter. And, without that part, I wouldn't say this chapter would have been bad. It would have been decent. But I think the last part is what made it interesting. And, I didn't mind the middle and the beginning as well. It's just, that ending really makes me very curious, very interested in this whole entire arc. And as well as the entire Alvarez Empire. The whole this arc where this is going with this new side of the world. And I'm really liking where this is heading. And not only that, but it does give me a bit of hope that this arc is not going to have these fairy tales doing all the work and just have it in the bag, so to say. How kind of the stuff you see from the last arcs, and so, where you just have fairy tale fighting against the odds, and all of a sudden they could just overcome it with nakama stuff, friendship power, which is, it's okay, but it could get redundant, and it has already, and it needs to be balanced with some other characters from not just the fairy tale guild, but the other characters like the other guilds, such as Sting, Rogue, Leo, and so on. It makes it more diversity, especially the fact that this is a different continent. So we are being built that we're going to have a huge war between two continents. And with the revelation of the ending, knowing who is the emperor, it makes it much interesting and makes it more connection. Makes it a connection to the last talk between Zerov and Akano Lugia. The conflict, which was a really good chapter, and now it seems like it's being connected really well. It makes sense why we're getting to this arc. And now it really gives the interest raised way up high. I mean, granted, the 12 wizards, the 12 saints of the top of the food chain, as you could say, they're those 12 are interesting enough to see, how powerful they can stack up against Fairy Tail and the other guys. But now we have this guy being the emperor. It just makes everything more just downright tough. And I think at this case, it's best to just have Fairy Tail just to get Makarov and run away and tell the tale about the whole, situation from the Alvarez Empire, as well as who is the emperor, and how is this all going to be handled now? Because this is pretty much a build up for a huge war, which I'm hoping that's the case. I really don't want Fairy Tail just to one shot everybody. Well, not literally one shot, but basically saying, they could take care of this, they could handle this in the back. The whole Tartaros arc. I appreciated that. Granted, some of the fights is a little bit BS, I guess you could say, especially with Urza one. But some of the other ones is like it requires teammates and it requires the other guild, Rogue and Sting, to help them out, and it requires every member of Fairy Tail up to the point that he was with the whole Historia power, the Lumen Historia. It almost went to use, but it didn't. So it felt like it was just getting too much. Now in this case, it seems like that is the similar situation. But anyway, let's get to the chapter. It's actually straightforward. It's pretty like the first two parts is more of just more build up to more of a segue to get to the whole Alvarez Empire, where they finally gonna go to the different continent, and we find out who the spy is. But beginning, it starts off with them helping everybody who was on the island. Well, there was an island, but frankly, it just shrunk. Well, sank. It's overweight. People think it disappeared altogether, but really it shrank. And yeah, it's not sank, it shrank actually. But either way, yeah, that's pretty much what that Brandish could do. It's pretty damn devastating. But yeah, pretty much is them saving them. A little comic relief. The fact that Wendy really can handle the transportation anymore, which gotta suck for her now. So yeah, and then it was kind of rather funny where they just got teleported out of the blue because Mess was told to go underwater and meet them and meet them at the temple underwater, which is called Olympia. And they just went there without any notification from Mess. It's like, yo, Mess, what the hell? It's like, I just got teleported. It's like, you couldn't just give us a warning. It's like came out of nowhere, because they was just talking about, man, what a disaster this has become. Hopefully we could get, oh crap, we're going there somewhere. So that was kind of funny, but it was interesting to see how the temple works. Like, you could literally go out the water, and you could you go out the window, and it's not like the water will come in. They only you come out, and you will actually be in that water. It's interesting to do that way. I kind of like that. It's minor, but it's something like that. I like stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, the temple just become a machine. Like, it's a moving temple apparently. And the spy is Angel, or what she calls herself, Sarno now. So no more of that Angel back in the Or Success days. So yeah, that's her. I kind of find it funny how it works, because it's like she make herself so, like such a what a twist, and make her look like the best thing you ever gonna hear from your life. Suddenly, like, it's like, the one who has come to save you, who is the spy, is me, none other than me, stuff like that. But everybody else is like, so like Urza started like, why can't be Cobra? And Mess is like, well, there was a lot of sort of questions. And it's like completely ignored her, or more like pretty much did not make it into a big deal. And then they even blame her, like, so you're a spy and you got caught, and then you went to the island and the island is gone, so you're pretty a bad spy. And she's just that part is actually kind of funny, because like I said, she make herself look like the top thing, and it would sound like everybody brush it off like, wow, what a disappointment. This is kind of the way they made it out to be. There's one thing to note. I know Fairy Tail is not a stranger to fan service, but there's a lot of, the fan service has got a bit more shown, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. It's being more shown than ever before. It doesn't help the fact that these girls are just started off with bikinis. Yes, guys under the shorts, and great, they strip off the shorts at one point, but basically it's like easy call for fan service. Same thing for Sarno, even though they did address why she's in a bikini as well. But yeah, the fact that Mashima is taking a good advantage of the situation and the settings there, and they pretty much just like, let's have every girls in their bikini, swimsuit, and stuff like that. Same thing for guys, but there's only two guys, so more fan service for the guys, I guess you could say. So yeah, it doesn't help with Sarano telling Lucy that she is the one that killed Karen. Don't forget about that, while pulling her swimsuit. And yeah, luckily Urza stopped, because otherwise we would have got nudity, I guess you could say. So yeah, but that was about it. Well, actually, last thing, they're going to find Mark. They're going to Makarov location, because she actually know where he's exactly at. So now we're really getting close to that point. Then we get the interesting part, where Makarov is playing a card game. I think it's called Legica. It's a card game from the Alvarez Empire. I don't know. So I don't know how it works. But there's a lot of, metaphorically speaking, from the other guy, that Yagil. Yeah, I remember now. He was talking, they're playing a card game. They're talking about, like, there's a lot of, reference to the real life situation, especially by the end where it says the key to victory is to keep the goddess close and not to lose her. Pretty much a very discreet connection to Luma Historia, which, by the way, that's where Mavis is in. Whether she's alive or not, that remains to be unfold. So the interesting part is since the guy was talking about the Emperor hasn't come back for a while, and then good timing, he came back here, and everybody was so hyped up to see him back for a year. Interesting. So yeah, a year, and everybody's getting ready for like a little not a parade, but like a ceremony for him, like his big upcoming return. So Makarov, at the same time, Makarov was surprised that the way he was entered, the way he was, the way how he got in there was easily. It was too easy. Like, there was no like struggles, there was no hardship. It was just step right in. Your Sukasa is Mikasa, or whatever how that goes. And then that's where we find out. We find out there was his name. First, we find out there was an emperor named Emperor Spriggan. I think that's how you say it. Yeah. So you would get the idea. You would think something like maybe it would be some new dude, or maybe some recurring character or related character to Makarov. No, turns out it's Zerov. Yeah, Zerov. It's like, oh So. Honestly, I was actually surprised. So that was good. That was a good way to caught me off guard, and really, really, really makes me think a lot of things, especially with this arc and the fact that he actually is the emperor of the entire the Alvarez, and the fact that he has this 12 wizards, these top tier, high level wizards on his side. Is just, oh my god, how the hell? And I'm assuming nobody really knows that's Zerov, because because they call him by his name. If they do, maybe they will address it, but seems like they don't know that's Zerov. And remember, Zerov's supposed to remain as a rumor, or I'm not sure if it was already spread that he's real. But yeah, pretty much he's the emperor, and I guess that could explain a lot for the past 444 chapters when you really think about it. Maybe, but I mean, it just makes it more interesting. Now it's like maybe this will connect to the other parts that he will later tell to the Book of N. Sorry. So yeah, that's the interesting aspect of the chapter, and really makes the chapter interesting. Really makes me wonder. Makes me really wonder a lot about this whole situation. And it's surprising because Fairy Tail, it's been such a long time that it makes me very curious. It makes me very interested to see what could unfold. And with this series, past history, I'm not saying they're terrible, but they were getting redundant, and they were getting some issues that just keep on coming back and forth. Can it come back and forth from here? Probably, but right now we're dealing with Zeroth. We're dealing with like one of the bigger piece of the story, and yeah, I'm surprisingly excited for the next chapter, or maybe it's just a general of the arc, and just hopefully we don't see anything that makes Fairy Tail, such a facepalm for a lot of people returning this arc. I mean, that could be easy with this series, but just don't do that problem I already addressed in the beginning of this review. Just don't. It's time for training. That's right. It is training time in the shonen universe. And you know how that works. Power up whatever means necessary. Whether there's an explanation or you could just use a hyperbolic time chamber. And that will be it. And you will find out that power of friendship is what makes it powerful. Is what prevails all. So this chapter is no exception with that. And, because I already know what's coming down being a shonen series and, with the way how it was work. And, I know the Seven Deadly Sins, they're like camaraderie, friendship, whatever. They don't really shove it that much in that way, at least to my understanding, because I don't really recall if they really make it into like a Nakama thing. I think it's just like a normal adventure, which I guess a lot of people really likes that. It's nothing wrong with the whole friendship thing. A lot of good stories come with those things. I mean, you got Final Fantasy VI, and they really nailed it, if you recall. And it's funny when I'm talking about that, because Nanatsu no Taizai is pretty much like that when you think about it, with the RPG element. But anyway, let me get to the point. In this chapter, this is pretty much the understanding of the friendship power. But this is only going towards Hauser and Gil Thunder. So, like I said, it's not really such a bad thing. This is a shonen series. You're bound to get something like that, even if it's not to the protagonist or whatnot. It's still, it's still gonna come one way or another. But I really enjoyed this one. This was a nice chapter for training, no less. And I did like the concept of how the training works, such as like pick your own monsters, fight the type of monster. Seems like very RPG. I mean, I understand this series is somewhat based on that, and that's where the influence comes from. Because I remember he had an interview with the guy who made Final Fantasy 1 through 10, and some other games when he went to develop as a Mistwalker. I think that's the development team name. I'm not even sure if he's still there, but nevertheless, they did have an interview, and I always thought of this series was always like a role playing game style. And with that interview came in mind, I knew I wasn't off at all. But anyway, let's get to the chapter itself. To begin with, I'm glad they have King reacted to Hendrickson, because of course Hendrickson did all that crime, and he killed so many people. He brought hell to Britannia, and pretty much almost ordered them out. And yes, I know Hendrickson was under control, but come on, it's not that easy to forget. Oh, you're under control? Okay, that's cool. Right now they had to put it on hold, because right now since he's on their side, you might as well take advantage of his manpower. And then after the whole thing is settled, then you go fight each other, kill each other, whatever floats their world. But yeah, it's very understandable why King has to react this way, especially the fact that he ends up using his best friend Helbrin. When the whole keep going back and forth, reviving, get killed, revive. I believe 3 times. That was brutal. That was like the most hellish way you could possibly do between a best friend and between 2 best friends. So, I can understand King reaction. And Jenna, of course, this is not the time, because these 10 commandments are no joke. They're just a huge threat, and you might as well just put that for aside, especially when Hendrickson already already understand that he can never redeem himself or anything about it, and he can't even defend his actions, his past action. So at the time being, he just wanted just to protect everybody, the land of Britannia, and the kingdom of Lionels. Sorry. So yeah, makes sense to how to at least they put that in visual. I don't want that to be apology of something or ignore it. So one of those two. So out of those two, they didn't happen, and I'm thankful for that. I don't know what's gonna happen later on, but either way, I got that. I'm okay now. They go in there and they're supposed to strip down everything, and fortunately, Goddard doesn't know sarcasm or doesn't know when it's not to take it literal, and that's where he went literal. Almost took out the entire clothes, but thankfully he didn't take out the underwear, or rather, at least he was told to at least put your underwear and don't take it off. I mean, hey, he has no emotion. It's really hard to tell, Can't blame him. Yeah, and apparently they all can't use their weapons. They gotta use a stick. Just a stick. So, yeah. They go in the cave. Everybody goes to training. That includes Hawk. Big shock. And when they went inside, Hawk got separated from everybody. Kind of curious. What is his training going to be? But, oh well. I guess we gotta wait on that. So we got Hauser and Gil Thunder doing their training. And they seed upon a lot of stones, I guess you could say, and that's where they could pick. They gotta pick one of these in order to fight against something. Like it could be a low rank monster, it could be a high rank monster, it could be a monster that resists to thunder, resists to a tornado, I guess. Yeah, I thought that was a nice concept for training, but I thought that was just going to speed up the training, like hyperbolic time chamber, like you just do nothing but just do your thing and let the time go fast as crap. But in this case, this is about like some RPG stuff, like the one you see in Final Fantasy games, especially like I recall Final Fantasy X, where you had to get to capture something, and you can fight higher monsters, even higher than the final bosses monsters. So yeah, there's stuff like that. But I like that. I like that insert of a role playing game elements in there. So they end up picking something that's resist to thunder, if I recall. And yeah, this is the same one that they had a hard time fighting. And it's a clay dragon, if I have to say it. It's a clay dragon, and it pretty much it's pretty much notified to lightning as well as wind. So, yeah, that's why they lost in the first place. And unfortunately, Gil Thunder and Hauser got some issue to work out with each other. Grant, they are good friends, but in this kind of situation, they really don't like each other's fighting style. One going to think about it and try to conduct a strategy. One to go to head on and charge in order to get something out of it, because there's no time to waste, as this thing is going to keep attacking. This guy's going to end up beating them up to death. Well, they're not going to die, but they're going to end up being like the same thing from the last chapter ending. So yeah, that's not a good thing to go for. But I think the good part of the real good part of this chapter is the flashback part that connects to this whole situation, where Gil Thunder actually was remembers the time where he was training with Meliodas, and he has to he was doing his way of fighting is about thinking and then take actions. But the problem is you can't really stay still and think of something, because anything could happen. A sword could come out, an arrow could come out of nowhere and just shoot him right in the head, heart, whatever. Anything is gonna happen if you don't react in time. So, you gotta be thoughtful as well as being flexible, I guess you could say. And Melinda's showing the example. The example ends up being Hauser, which kind of had a funny moment, because it's like, oh, like that, huh? And then all of a sudden you should see Dreadfort just smack the hell out of it. It's like, oh, you're the one that caused that mess. It's like, ow. So, yeah, that could have been a nice scene, but that part just made it like, ooh, okay, maybe that's not a good idea. So then we get to Hauser's flashback, where he's all about fighting head on, just go. I guess you could kind of say be rash, but The problem is you can't really be doing that because sometimes charging in recklessly against opponent, he will end up getting killed for it, and it makes sense because obviously that's a horrible idea. You would just die no matter how easy it could be, or maybe it could be something that you could overcome. So of course, with you see the last flashback, the example was Hauser being flexible, being hasty and everything, and charge in without stopping. But in this case, it's the opposite. The big Goat Thunder is all about need to have a calm mind and being mindful, be calm and collected, as you can say. And that's where Dreyfus give an example of Gildan being that kind of person. He's thoughtful, he's smart, he's not gonna be reckless. He's just calm. And it's funny, instead of him doing something bad, Guild Thunder, it ends up being dreadful. Not dreadful. End up being Hauser saying, well, that's because he's a hard ass. He just gets smacked again. So yeah, both flashback, he gets smacked. And it's not like Guild Thunder would be the one to get smacked. Granted, he got smacked by Millennials because, he has to. So then they realize they both have their strengths and weaknesses, and both of their strengths is what they need from each other. So if they could understand that, they could really they could really be okay. I'm going to say it loosely, a perfect soldier. They will be perfect. Again, I'm saying it loosely, and because they understand each other, they understand that's the situation. They can finally get in sync, and they finally understand how to deal with the situation. So therefore, at the end, they seem like they are fully prepared, and their power levels are pretty much increasing, because that's the key to become stronger, is the friendship. So open doors to new strength, as it says at the end of the chapter. Yeah, that's about it. It was a good chapter though. I enjoyed it. I like the beginning of King and Henderson. Interesting concept of the training, and ended with the nice note. Again, the usual thing that you always get from a shonen series, but nevertheless, it was still nice. And yeah, that's about it. It's a good thing that this training thing is not going to last too long, or at least to speed up with a lot of different characters. So it's not like, these two characters is going to take like a good 3 chapters or so. And this chapter was covering a lot of things from the first half before we get to the action training. So maybe the next one will be faster for some other character as well. So either way, good chapter. Once again, a pretty good chapter from Tokyo Ghoul Re. Just keep me getting excited for what's coming next for the Tsukiyama family, as well as this, in general, this arc. Maybe it's just not the only focus on Tsukiyama family. Then again, it seems like it is being heavily focused on them, mainly because of the whole Operation Rose, and Kanai is very connected to that, of course. But yes, this chapter itself had a lot of event going on, a lot of interesting new points to go look forward to the future, especially such as simple as transferring to the one different squad, especially when we just learned from the last last arc of Hiroko. Hiroko apparently did transfer to Anima squad, so interesting that ended up being the case, especially when we know from the past arc, it seems like he has a grudge. It's a personal grudge with Arima. And seeing the panel when they making eye contact, Hiroko doesn't really have that a nice eye contact such as, oh, it's good to be back again, or anything like that. It seems like he's more disgruntled or something. I don't know. And Arima, of course, is Arima, being heavily strict, very hard ass when it comes to like being in the operation as a CCG investigator. So that's why it's so rare to see him smiling with Sasaki, or that other normal human kindness coming from him. I guess that's why it's such a shocker when chapter 31.5 happened. And, now that Hiroko is no longer part of the squad where Ito is at, now not only that, Ito is actually a squad leader, and it becomes a Ito squad, now no longer Hiroko squad. But, even though he heard about that whole thing, it feels so sudden that it just happened like that. And not only that, but now he's the squad leader. It felt like maybe Hiroko left because he felt like Ito was ready for, the big time, the big responsibility. But at the same time, it just seems so sudden, because it is so sudden. But he felt like, this is put too much pressure and make him so nervous. And it's really hard to support that, which I actually like this kind of characteristic being displayed in this chapter. Especially with with Ito, he's out drinking because he's really nervous about this whole thing. It's so sudden that he got this, you could say, a promotion, I guess, and right now he's just pretty much grumpy about this thing, and I guess you could say Hiroko didn't leave a good note on him, and I guess it might take a different direction in the later time of this arc, when we get to the big explosive event, whenever that comes. So then Sasaki, he's really back in his room thinking about this whole situation, how everything seems to be turning up to be a very serious case. You got a lot of veterans, you got Fura, you got Ui, S1 squad, they got a lot of high-ranking squads, the high-ranking members, especially like Haru, which, she was a member of Squad Zero from Arima. So this is happening before we got to the cliffhanger from the last chapter, which we finally get to that point. And, it's still bizarre to see Sasaki going meet Uta in his own shop, and let alone the fact that he has his Kakangan on, that is true. It's kind of funny that he just casually has it on, like it's no big deal. And it's a good thing that Ishida did in fact reference the eye, because it would have been like really it would have been weird just never talk about that eye and just like walk by it and just go home. We're like, okay, thank you for telling me about this mask, bye, and stuff like that. What's interesting about it is that the way Uda is playing innocent, or more like just playing like a guy who made a mistake, like, oh, this belong to my store, but I didn't think we gave it to you. Sorry about that. It's really hard to read this guy. I guess that's what makes it interesting to see what exactly is his agenda, or what is the objective, or anything. Like, it's still hard to understand with the whole 31.5 chapter, with the entire scenario with him meeting with Yoma and the other guys, acting like he's supposed to be like undercover or something. I don't know if that's even the case, but it's hard to read him. And I guess that makes sense with the entire, the way how his character is about portrayal of a mask, which pretty much says like, what mask is he hiding? What mask is he wearing? In fact, what mask does he have right now? So in this case, he's playing, all casual, like, I make mistakes, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give it to you, this mask. I got the wrong address or something. That is odd. That's obviously BS, but Sasaki bought into it for now, because he is, it's really hard to read. And then I think the interesting part of this whole thing is the novel itself, where he actually asks if the novel belongs to him, and he did, or rather, if he sent that novel to him, and he said he did not. So I guess you could say the novel, who's the one that brought that book to him, it's going to be end up a hype note for fans, because it's like, okay, who's sending in that novel? Some people would say Ito, some people really wish to be Hiden, And I'm still thinking it might be Hiden as well, which I think that will be a good way to reveal who's the guy that gave him the book. Especially this is Kaneki best friend, so this would have been like a explosive twist, even though it's just Hiden, a normal best friend, normal human being. But he was such a character back in the first series, as normal as he was or is. I'm gonna say is. I don't want him dead. So, but as normal human he is, maybe he's a ghoul, maybe it could be a was. But anyway, let's get to the point. As normal as the Hiden character is back in the first series. He was such a character for some reason. He was, he played his role well, and, it's a character that you really like to see him interact with Kaneki, as they really have a good bonding, and especially towards the end with the whole him knowing about Kaneki being a ghoul all this time and stuff like that. It was heartwarming, and it really makes it wonder what happened to him. So I'm not thinking it's Rude. Don't think it's Rude. Don't think about that crap. But anyway, then they explained about the eye. He's telling him this is a tattoo. He injected black ink into the eyes, and that's why he has that. Sasaki got that scared, like, holy crap, this guy's nuts. It's like, but it's interesting that he actually thought of like a tattoo, huh? So, because he probably was thinking the same, it might be a ghoul. He is a ghoul, but the fact that he addressed that, and the fact that a ghoul be this casually stand out like that, I guess it plays his mind like it can't be a ghoul. Why you would be so casual? Especially I'm a CCG investigator. He would have been like, oh crap, running away, because I guess they're used to that ghoul hiding themselves, or when they get caught, they run away or they fight back strongly. But Udo doesn't do that, so I guess that's why Sasaki is like, oh, okay, okay, that takes care of that question. Now, I do wonder why the chapter ended with, not the chapter, but more out of the Sasaki point of view. Why did it end with him asking if you make custom-made mask, and then he should say, I do. It almost tells me, it could be nothing, but it seems significant. It tells me that he may request a mask. And if he does, that would be awesome. But it depends on the mask. Guys, a lot of people got scared that he got a new hair color. I mean, not haircut. That time where the ceremony. Everybody thought he got a new haircut, but it ends up being just for one time thing because it's a ceremony. Gotta look good. But yeah, in this case, mask. It sounds like he wants a new mask. Like a custom made mask. Maybe the mask he has is cool, but he maybe more an adjustment. I'm hoping that's the case. It would be awesome if he really goes back to that kind of style for this case. I know it might be like, it'd be strange to see it now. Maybe. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't think it's strange. I think it'll be awesome, badass, and all that stuff. And it would be a good, appropriate time if him meets Shu once more. Where him wearing a mask, Shu will go nuts. Because he'll be like, oh my god, he's back. He's alive. It'll be great. So we'll see what happens though. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but that way how it ended was something. Then we get to that fact that he captured one of the ghoul. And then we see the flashback because, well, Haru was pretty upset that she didn't get no credit because apparently this guy gets all the credit, all because he captured the guy, Kijima, sorry. He captured one of the ghoul, and she's like, I did a lot of hell of a work. How the hell he got all the credit? She's all grouchy. You see her face plump up. It's funny, but that's when we get how the fight went down. Well, that's where the cool part came in, and she was pretty damn good, and I really I'm really liking this character. Like, her characteristic is funny enough. Her fighting ability is some scary stuff. Her fighting style is very athletic, as you could say. He even said it about her body is like some athletic style, and she could dodge a lot of things. She has a quick reflexes. She's fast, and then when there was a point that it was like something that's hard to dodge, she managed to dodge it because she's just that athletic. She could evade. She's the fact that she like ducked down and threw her weapon up in the air as she's looking down, and then she catch the weapon. It's crazy stuff. she's quick. She's evasive. She's pretty invasive. She's damn cool. Again, female fighter in this series, female character in this series, just great. It just doesn't surprise me as much as they need to do. It's always good stuff, and it's actually funny when we get to see where the Kojima comes in. He used the Quinque, the Centauro, to capture one of the guy. I think the guy name is Yuma. I think that's his name. And, it's like, thank you for the opening. We got him. And she's like, all in that game of fighting. And then she's like, wait, no problem? Like, well, you're welcome. What the hell did I do? And so she's like, what the hell? Oh, thanks. I mean, you're welcome. So, yeah, that's how the flashback. But pretty much she was kicking ass all by herself. He came in to catch her. And, yeah, that's the story. And she's like, well, that's bull. So, but the interesting thing is that she was in fact a superior to she was actually Sasaki's superior. So that's why that she took interest of Sasaki back in, I think it was 2 chapters ago. Yes, 2 chapters ago. That makes sense, and interesting to see that she was his superior. So I guess that's where maybe we get some of the flashback later on. It should be interesting to see how that goes. But, I like this. Her training Sasaki. Nice. So, I wonder if Sasaki could be fast and evasive and, all that stuff. I mean, he has the same form of fighting style as Arima, which is already a good sign for him. Especially if he gets his memory back and be a ghoul, half ghoul and half human, as in fighting style and everything stands for. Be damn interesting, nonetheless. So, what about Kojima? What's so special about him? Well, he has his way. He has his way to get the solution and get the deal done with the ghoul. So apparently he used to be an interrogator at a Cold Chili. So, yeah, that prison place. And I think his nickname is the Chipper. And he, after getting one of the ghoul, he knows that they was going to interrogate him. And they know they're not going to get any answer. So he finds something else to give a little present to his friends. And with that vicious smile and that one panel, you already know it's not going to be nice. It's going to be bad. Probably to the point that it makes the ghoul look innocent. I mean, granted, they are innocent when you look at the point of view of an audience, but I'm talking about their point of view or the human point of view. So it might be pretty effed up. You will see soon enough. And Sugiyama family, they all gather around with Masume on the bed, pretty much injured, hurt, and resting. And it's sad. They asked where's Yuma, and sadly, I think the girl name is Aliza. Masume tell her, I'm sorry, because Yuma got captured, and she's so sad because when she get captured, CCG or anything that happens with CCG is is bad news. I mean, what are the case of? Oh, you got a spare. That's nice. What are the case of that? Unless you get captured by Sasaki and he knows you as your best friend, you be safe. But if you're not meeting Sasaki, you're not his best friend or Kaneki best friend or whatever, you're screwed. You're heavily screwed. And the way how Kojima made her say that line about let's give a little present with that smile, it's not going to be nice. It's going to be very dark. So yeah, and Kanai starts to realizing things are really, really getting bad, and it's only going to get worse, especially getting very close to the connection with Rosewald and Sukiyama family. And once they find the connection, not only Kanai will get in trouble, but so is the entire Tsukiyama, especially once they find out they're Ghoul, they're gonna raid that place and all hell will break loose. And, he has to decide what to do because his master is this family as well as Master Shu himself. He doesn't know what to decide. He asks the question, what will you decide? What would I choose? What would, it's a big struggle for him. You could tell he's having a hard time with this thing. Now, the interesting part of this chapter is where it ended. We have Shirazu and Psycho, along with Kuroa, that eyebrow dude that almost seems like some character I remember. But anyway, yeah, they're hanging out because everybody's doing their work, especially like Ue's doing his thing, and this Suzuya doing his thing with Masuki. So that leaves them, what to do now. And Psycho wants to go to bakery because, of course, she is hungry. And yeah, why not? And this is where, it's interesting in two things. Where it ended and the fact that we get a returning character, Yoriko Kosaka. And shockingly, Kurowa knows her. I don't know what kind of relationship they have, but this seems very interesting. And not because of the relationship, whatever it may be, but the connection they already have. And the fact that it could be whatever. It could be maybe they're lovers, maybe they're best friends, whatever. The fact they have a connection is something worth noting. And maybe it won't go anywhere. I doubt it because the way how it ended in there, of all places, it ended in that part. Especially how they make a big deal like what he's like, oh, she's in she works there now, and aiming for the chef, that girl that went aiming for the chef, the Toka best human friend, you could say. What is the connection between these two? They make a big deal out of that, but I think the real deal is the fact that not only is if they really have a connection, this seems like a starting point for a character to come back and probably force herself to get back in the battlefield. And that's why and yes, I am talking about Toka because, obviously this should still be close. I'm not sure how close now. I mean, I know a lot of things has changed. I know a lot of things has split, but Yoriko doesn't really have any other connection besides being the fact that she is a best friend, in at least you could say human, but let's just say best friend of Toka. And if it's just being relationship, being lovers, what can it go? It can't really go anywhere else. I mean, it could go somewhere else, like maybe she would go elsewhere and then they'll end up seeing Toka in that Reed shop, It could be anything because it's the fact that you have a connection of that, and not only that, Yoriko is not connected with, at the very least, is not connected with a CCG investigator, which spells bad news because back in the first series she has no connection with anyone else, just a normal schoolgirl. You want to be a chef, and just hang out with Toka. But now what happens if they meet Yoriko again and she's hanging out with a CCG investigator, which Toka must get away at all costs. Look what happened with Teku. It's gone now. So imagine with this case. I don't know if they have a connection still. I don't know if they communicate with each other still, Yoriko and Toka. But if they do, this could be bad news. And if they don't, it's going to lead to that. Especially the fact that we found out that the CCG guys already know that there are two rabbits. There is not one. There are both two different rabbits, and they have a different scenario that happened with the crimes they committed. The newest, the black rabbit is the one, the red rabbit does the whole killing CCGs for the past years. But the first one, he only killed that one guy. And was fighting on with Amon and Mado. So yeah, I feel like Toka might end up getting in a huge predicament. She's going to end up being a huge mess sooner or later. I don't think it's going to happen in this arc. I just think it will happen in this series. And it could happen in the next arc. If we go and follow the path, the same pattern of the last series, it's possible that the next arc is going to be the most drastic turn of event for everyone, especially for Sasaki. But maybe this one will be as well. You never know. Yeah, people like to see parallels between these two series, but anything is possible. You really can't say it's really going to be the exact same format. It could be similar, but maybe if something like maybe a huge turn event will happen here, not in the next arc. But we'll see. That's the end of the chapter, which is, again, the way it ended there tells me it's more than you think. Why this is making so significant? So yeah, it's a pretty good chapter with a lot of things going on, or more, rather, a lot of new developments of these characters, like the whole Hyuko going back to Arima Squad. Then, the Ito has to get this much amount of pressure. Now he's a squad leader. Sasaki, with a lot of thinking over about this situation being very serious. And the fact that he went to Uta and, he's really, he got one mystery solved about the mask, even though he's not knowing that, Uta is playing around with it. But he is still wondering who is the one that delivered the novel, which builds up the hype. Then you get the strange way to end that point of view with him asking you create a custom-made mask. Like, it's saying something. Then you got the entire Haru being such a kick-ass woman, just kicking ass, just a kick-ass character, funny at the same time. Tsukiyama is getting in much deeper trouble, and ended with the whole Yuriko coming back into the series, and probably down the line gonna create a connection with Toka, and later on probably an entire Right now, I feel like it's just relaxing back in the background. But when the time comes, everybody gotta move and everybody gotta get involved. So right now, we're gonna focus on Tsukiyama Shu, of course. But I think after that, we may get more focus on and then they might have to come back in full force because, a lot of things just keep on connecting and a lot of things just keep on coming. These trouble, that is. So, heads up, a lot of things is about to happen. A lot of explosive things about to happen. And I'm just excited to see what is that case may be. So, Tokyo Ghoul doing this thing. What else is new? It just keep getting better. And that will do it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'm sorry for the intro being a little bit depressing moment, but I guess I really want to get out of the way. And I guess it's still a breaking news for people that plays games, and the fact that maybe it does truly connects to the anime and manga stuff. It really touched upon a lot of people with this, because our childhood. I mean, I'm not saying all of us has to play a video game or two in our childhood, but I think I could safely say that a lot of us, majority of us, has played a video game. And if we're born like around in the late 80s and early 90s, it's surely we'll be playing. The first game we'll be playing would be around Nintendo systems, either the Super Nintendo or even Nintendo itself. And, if you have siblings, they would be the one introducing games to us. So, for me, I was introduced by my brother with Super Nintendo. I was actually more of a Genesis guy, but, I do play games. I'm still a gamer to this day. I still do what I enjoy the most, So, yeah, I didn't mean to bring up with the depressing beginning, but, we got to move on, and we gotta bring that smile back up, and just keep on living, feel the good life, enjoy life. So, yeah, the next episode definitely will be in a more upbeat note. Don't worry about it. Let's keep it that way, okay? So, spread the words. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, and I'll see you next time for the more Sparda's World podcast. Take care, everyone.